Good morning, everybody. Rafael Vázquez, melocchitechnique, whatever you want to call me. I won't say that melocchi master thing. I think trolls and haters, they don't like it very much. Maybe it's a bit pompous, but anyway. Okay, you have no idea how long I have been wanting to make this video. Because there is a lot of confusion, and there is a lot of I don't know, it's like a mythical kind of thing. I will try to make the video in one go, but if it gets too long, I will make it like in two parts, okay? But the video, if I were to use to choose a title, would be Melocchi, Mario Del Monaco, and Franco Corelli, and then Stanley and Lo Monaco technique, all right? And the difference with the Melocchi technique, because it's unbelievable the amount of questions that come up, and the amount of misinformation that I come across on the internet and through emails and so on. As I always say, when something comes from basically secondhand, maybe it's okay, but when it comes from third parties, like third hand, then you can have what I call a broken telephone, and then the message gets distorted. So let's start with Franco Corelli. Okay, so I mean, what can I say about Franco Corelli? I know very little people that do not like Franco Corelli. The only criticism I have found regarding Franco Corelli is actually his diction, because in fact he had some sort of speech impediment, and you can notice it both in his speaking voice when he was giving interviews and stuff, and in his singing. But other than that, I mean, the voice is magnificent. Now, here comes the $1 million question: did he or did he not study? Did he not study with Melocchi? The answer is yes and no. Why yes and no? Well, let's start from the beginning. I have my notes today because there are tons of dates and names and I can't remember. So basically, at the conservatory in Ancona, because Corelli, is natural from Abruzzo. In fact, it's so funny because I've sung so much around that area. So from here, salutoni a tutti gli abruzzesi, specialmente quelli di Città Sant'Angelo. So I've sang a lot in Abruzzo. I've sung in Ortona, I've sang in Ancona, I've sang in Pescara, I've sang all over the place there. So at the conservatory, he studied first under Rita Pavoni, but he was unhappy. He was very unhappy, and actually it led to basically what he called that it destroyed his upper register. And in fact, it was so traumatic that for a while he studied as a baritone and sang as such. But that didn't feel comfortable either. So, basically what Corelli did is what anybody else did, with actually people, Di Stefano did. That's for not video, by the way. It's just become how can I say, self-taught, to become his own teacher. because as later on in life, you know, he said that teachers, you know, destroyed voices and so on, and he became a teacher himself. And it's a funny anecdote that McCray told me that actually, you know, when he taught, and I'm sorry, this is not, it's just an anecdote. I'm not trying to criticize anybody. These are anecdotes that I think are nice. And, you know, he used to just put his hand first, like, pay me first, you know, and just like a taximeter, and then you go. Anyway, that was Corelli and his personality. So basically, Corelli stated that he learned part of this Arturo Melocchi, so the Melocchi sort of method, through a student that, you know, a friend of his that was a student of Melocchi, and that obviously was the teacher of Mario del Monaco. And well, here comes the thing, you know, that he basically modified the technique in order to, instead of forcing the larynx down, he made it floaty. And I'm sorry, guys, this is a myth. This is a myth. Why? Because if you compare Mario del Monaco's personality and Corelli's personality, there is a huge difference. Huge difference. Mario del Monaco was a beast on stage and off stage. He was extremely extrovert, and he had such drive that yeah, he took actually the technique to the limit. Thus the extreme performances. Corelli didn't have that personality. He was a bit more conservative. And okay, well, the sound that he produced and also the anatomy, you have to compare both. You know, you have to take many things into consideration when you analyze the voice of somebody. The anatomy. I don't know exactly how high Corelli was, but I know how high Del Monaco was. He was, you know, 5'7", basically 170, which is not very tall. Tenors usually are not tall, but Corelli was unusually tall. He was a tall tenor. Thus, the neck was larger. Thus, the larynx was larger. Does this make a difference? Yes, totally. The anatomy of the apparatus makes all the difference, and also the approach, because of his personality. And I have proof. You know, I can give you a list of Melocchi's students, but I will tell you of one. I want you to look. Although I will publish a video of him. Where are you? Here you go. Paride Venturi, right? And you can see that Paride Venturi sings pianissimi, he sings legato, you know, and he was a direct student of Melocchi. So this myth, right, number one, that you know, with Melocchi nobody could do anything but scream, sorry, debunked. If you know, you will listen some excerpts of some of these both tenors and baritones, and you'll see that that's not true. That's not true. No. And he, you know, he didn't encourage that. But keep in mind that Corelli and Del Monaco had a totally different vision of this, you know, and a totally different personality. Del Monaco was an all give it all guy. He didn't, you know, he didn't save. He didn't save. Corelli did. And also, I'm sorry, but Corelli suffered from stage fright. I mean, there are anecdotes confirmed by so many people that he would get into these tantrums, that he would lock himself in the in his changing room and before the opera because he was really scared. I mean, it is said that Corelli used to sing the entire opera before he would go on stage because he was scared. And now, why was he scared? This is very important. Well, he was very scared because at the beginning of his career, and there are many recordings, or I don't know many, but there are recordings of that. He suffered from what we call in the singing world, a vibrato caprino, right? So basically like a goat, a very sort of fast vibrato. This was exactly the same as Lauri Volpi, and there is a connection here. And then I'm going to say something that is going to surprise many people. So he suffered that because basically his larynx and the coordination of his larynx and his, I would say, breathing mechanism was not very well adjusted. And that made him have this very fast vibrato and created a lot of insecurity, right? That's why first he went to Melocchi, and eventually he was thrilled by Giacomo Lauri Volpi, and as you may know, he spent very lengthy periods of times with Lauri Volpi in Burjasot, in Spain, in Valencia, not far from here actually. But check it out, and I have the quote here. There is an anecdote in which, and I quote, "I went with my wife to meet the phenomenal Giacomo Lauri Volpi. I loved hearing those incredible treble, real sharp blades. He gave me a lot of advice, and I was, a very big fan of him. I listened to him and tried immediately the tips. They were very good, but returned to Milan a week later or 10 days at most. I had to return to the old method, that is, to the Melocchi manner. Volpi's advice did not last long." And this is from Corelli himself. Now, if you listen to Lauri Volpi and the development of his voice over his entire career, at the beginning, Volpi had the same sort of fast vibrato, caprino, okay? And in his early days, I mean, he started as a light tenor. I mean, he sang Il Barbiere di Siviglia. But towards the middle and end of his career, he took heavier roles, and actually the sound he produced and the approach, was very similar to that of Giacomini, Del Monaco, maybe less aggressive, Corelli, of course, or any other dramatic tenor of the time. Really heavy, chesty voice. So actually, was Melocchi unique? And this links, to the next issue. So basically, Franco Corelli was a great admirer of Melocchi's technique. If he modified it, I think everybody does. Melocchi had a tremendous connection with his students. He was a very father-like figure, and for example, there is this guy, I really advise the pages in Italian, his name is Giovanni Rivicesu. So obviously he has Romanian origins, and a great tenor. And his father actually studied under, I believe, Marcello del Monaco, and was very good friends with Gastone Limarilli, and these guys studied under every single Limarilli's student, and he has tons of wonderful material, you know, letters and stuff. It's just really nice. Really was a very nice find. So, what is the difference between Mario del Monaco and Franco Corelli? Well, first of all, totally different anatomy and totally different personality. And you can say, and that's it. Yes, that's it. But the methodology, the way that the technique is basically the Affondo technique. So there you are. Okay, so that's part one. And since I have a few minutes left, because I wanted to make a 20-minute video, and then I will make another one about Stanley and Lo Monaco and so on. So something that I of course, if this information is not enough, please write to me, and I will give you more information, because I have tons of it. And you might say, why do you have tons of it? Well, first of all, because of McCray, and second of all, because my grandfather was very good friends with, again, a very good friend of Lauri Volpi. Yeah, there you go. Now, second topic, the myth. Where did Melocchi learn this technique or methodology? I have heard the most outrageous theories about that. Now, you have to keep in mind that Arturo di Giuseppe Melocchi, right, was born in December 9th, 1879. Okay, and he died October 25, 1960. Right. He was a baritone, all right. And yeah, he studied at the Reggio, Conservatorio Reggio di Milano, under Giuseppe Caligiani, exactly, yeah, who was actually the director of the conservatory. It's funny because both of them got into trouble because they were anti-fascists, and that's why I think the myth comes from here, because they both had to emigrate, they had to get out of Italy, and Melocchi then started going all around, the globe basically, and he learned how to speak, Russian and so on, because Melocchi was suspended on May 18th, 1941, for poor performance, but it was because this anti-fascist thing, and the same as his master, his teacher. And between the time of his suspension and the end of the fascist republic, right, in 1945, he spent 3 years abroad teaching in Hong Kong, in Shanghai, with staff from Russia and France. And during these 3 years, he learned how to speak proper, practical English, French, and Russian. And this is where it comes. Then people say, oh, Melocchi learned this technique from a Russian teacher that learned it in, and this is the most outrageous thing, in Tibet. So then this whole mystical thing about, that in Tibet you have these guys that they can sing 2 notes at the same time, right? And then they say, oh, that's it, and thus the exercises being so aggressive and being a throat breaker and whatnot. Now, to end the video, so you know, no, this is pure Italian. This is not much different than what Caruso used to do. And in a video that I'm going to post, in which Paride Venturi talks about the Melocchi technique, what he learned is actually that, and I'll try to make a translation of it, but I want you really to see it firsthand. He basically fixed voices, he fixed people. In fact, Mario Del Monaco, because of the way he was, when he went to the army and stuff, he started to do his own thing, and basically he got into trouble, and it was only because of his wife Rina, that was a soprano that he met at the conservatory. He got married, he got married to her. Rina Filippini, 1941, 1982. In fact, McCray studied both with Mario Del Monaco and Rina in Villa di Lancenigo. Well, it was because of Rina that actually Melocchi admitted Del Monaco again fixed him. So there you go. All right, women, very important in your life. Okay, so I just want to give you a list of, because there are a few recordings on YouTube, and I will post them, but just in case you are curious. The most remarkable students of, and actually it's weird, but I have only found male students. I wonder why, because to be honest, I have great success with female students, and I made a video about teaching females, because actually most of my students are female and the results are fantastic. And if you think that the Melocchi approach doesn't work on women, well, ask Eva Maria Westbrook and tell her, what happened. And maybe she will say that it was her Dutch teacher whose name I don't remember, but I'm sorry. The video in my channel with Frank Van Aken is pure McCray, Melocchi, style singing, and for me, to my mind, is the best thing she's ever sang. Anyway, so tenors: Aldo Botion, Umberto Chiodo, Augusto Cingolani, Gastone Limarilli, Giorgio Merighi, Roberto Merolla, his last student, Mario Del Monaco, obviously, Roberto Pagliaranni, Ettore Parmigiani, Giovanni Pullini, Paride Venturi. Then baritones, Africo Baldelli, that later he became a tenor, Vincenzo Enzo Cecchetelli, later a tenor, Edmondo Grandini, Maggini, Mario Mellani, Saturno Melleti, Mario Monachesi, Carlos Cavarelli, obviously Marcello Del Monaco, and basses Febo Pierbattista and Guido Santor. Now, what is and with this I conclude this video, because it's almost 25 minutes. What happened? Why did Marcello, Mario's brother, basically took over? Well, when in 1960 Melocchi dies, Gastone Limarilli, that was a very successful tenor with a very tragic ending because of a disease that took him, to a very heavy depression, and unfortunately he committed suicide. Rest in peace. He convinced Marcello to continue the legacy, and that's how Marcello Del Monaco became one of the greatest voice teachers ever. And he produced, you know, when I say produced, I say taught, you know, people such as Cecchile, Giacomini, Martinucci, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's all for today. This is the first part of a series of historical videos, but I hope you have a very clear idea of the differences between Franco Corelli and Mario del Monaco, what and why. And by the way, you know, Bridget Nielsen has a fantastic anecdote in which she says, you know, they were fighting on, I believe it was in Turandot, who would hold the high C higher, and apparently there were two episodes, and in one of them, Corelli literally beat her in the neck. Man, I mean, these guys were really wacko. Anyway, finally, I really appreciate all your emails, and once again, you know, you've been writing to me concerning my health. I'm okay, thank you very much, in the limits of my condition, chronic condition, but I'm okay, I'm fine, and I'm on the way of, you know, recovering after these weeks. So thank you very much, and thank you again for, you know, all the new subscriptions. You know, I have noticed, you know, that I have received, you know, these emails from YouTube saying, oh, you know, another subscriber and stuff. As I say, my goal is not to become a YouTuber. I just, you know, I like to share. This is kind of my legacy. Of course, the McCray studio is still operating, active in The Hague, and you know, so if you're interested, you know, I believe, you know, just go to the website and seek information. Otherwise, here I am, trying to share something that did help me out a lot. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. I'll make another video regarding Stanley, yeah, Dr. Douglas Stanley, and Dr. Thomas Lo Monaco, and his brother Jeroen, I believe, yeah, Jeroen, pronounced properly, yeah, I think so, Lo Monaco, and the orientation and techniques and the differences, okay, because McCray also introduced me to that vaguely, and there are a few differences and some similarities, so I shall cover that in the next video. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you know, whatever, once again, I'm gonna keep the comments off until the trolling community comes down, you know, because I think with the pandemic, everybody has lost it a bit. Thank you very much, and until next time, check it out, bye.